Welcome back. We've been talking about suicide prevention and the means for intervention. Joining us once again is Misha McK, co-founder of Suicide Watch and Wellness Foundation. And Misha, I mean, this is such a serious topic, and you would think everybody would be all over this. You wouldn't have to drive over the George Washington Bridge to inspire yourself and one individual, and what you're doing is just truly amazing. I want to get into the signs in just a minute, but just to follow up on our last segment, you know, kids particularly, what goes on in their heads, everything's magnified. An adult will look at it and say it's no big deal sometimes, but it is. So what should parents at this point be looking at if they have somebody that they're concerned about?
One thing I like to say, start early and talk often. Start early. Don't allow ice to form in your family. You've got to start asking your children, you know, how are you today? How was your day? Talk to me. You have to do that. You start early and you do it often, every single day, even if it's 5-10 minutes, but you have to do it every day. That way, your child will not feel at some point when they go through a lot of things and their minds are just turning and feel like, you know, depressed, right? Or they feel like they don't have friends, they're being teased. You need to make sure as a parent that you don't let that ice form. They should be able to come to you about anything, talk to you about anything, but it's not up to them to create that relationship. It's up to the parents. The parents have to create that relationship, and it's got to be ongoing. You can't forget one day, because as soon as the child feels like, oh, you know, mom, dad, they're too busy, they're working too much, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to tell anybody, they'll think I'm weak. You've got to make sure you constantly let your children know that you care about them, you love them, and help them through their issues every single day. Ask them, did you have a problem today? Something that I can help you with. Don't wait for them to come to you. As the adult in the room, you've got to start those conversations.
Now, are there signs, emotional signs? I mean, do you see maybe the way they act? Does that change? Things they say or do that might be something you can pick up on as a parent?
Yes. Behavioral changes are very easy for a parent to see. So let's say your child is not usually rambunctious or talkative, and all of a sudden they become very angry. You can look for signs of anger. Things also isolation, going into their room and not coming out for hours, right? Being very unpredictable with their behavior. One minute they're laughing or think they're okay. The next minute they're not talking at all. So those are some signs. Giving things away, favorite things to their friends is another big sign.
Really?
That they are really thinking about, taking their own life. Another thing too, Bill, the power of the furry friends. Isn't it nice at Christmas to get a little puppy
Yes, it can
for
be.
your birthday?
Yes.
A little kitten. The power of the furry friends. Give those young people something to care for. That's very important. I had a young lady who was involved with the Katrina incident in Louisiana. She lost everything. She was 14 years old, and she lost everything. All of her stuff. She was devastated. Her parents moved to Mississippi, and her behavior was so erratic, and she was so upset that they put her in a rehabilitation program. And the program, she said, it was okay, didn't really help her much. She's 27 now, and she still sees a therapist. So she said one day, she said to me a couple of months ago, she said, Misha, I told my therapist that I didn't feel good a particular morning, and I felt like killing myself. And the therapist said, why didn't you? And she said, because I realized there would be nobody here to take care of Taco, a little chihuahua.
Wow.
So giving those children someone to care for is very important.
Now, one of the things you also are involved in is engaging these kids in art therapy. What's that?
Well, that's Suicide Watch and Wellness Foundation. What we do is that, you know, I'm in that industry of entertainment and I understand the arts. Art therapy is where this is a licensed art therapists, where they will give a student or anyone actually, because they also work with our veterans and our senior citizens and our folks with disability. So they'll give them a pad. They'll ask what medium would they like to paint, acrylic or pencil, and they just let the person just draw or do something. Then they know they can read. They can read what that means. So, but for instance, you'll have a kid who will draw a house, won't have a roof. They'll draw little people with no face, no mouth or eyes. That means something to an art therapist. Or they'll draw people with a lot of happy faces, or they'll draw people with their arms up in the air, and these people look angry. Tells an art therapist, tells them a lot. Yeah, and so that's how you get it out when you're dealing with a child who's an adolescent, or someone who's a 5 years old, 4 years old, even 4 years old. They'll doodle something. It'll tell a lot to an art therapist about what that child is going through in their home.
Well, we have like a minute left. Just offer a little hope now for those who've been out there and are dealing with this. You've been doing this for a while now. Have you seen success?
Since 2018.
Okay, well, that's a while. Success, hope, what are you seeing?
I see that. I'm so happy that we have Suicide Watch and Wellness Foundation, because we're watching people, and we're trying to encourage other folks to watch people. Watch your neighbors, watch your children, watch your your students. Pay attention to what's going on. So we create awareness. We increase awareness. We really try to emphasize the urgency of caring about our mental health in this country. And like I say, together we can make a difference. We provide platform. I have my program in Mississippi. It's a platform for people to come and talk. It's called the Misha McK Show. We Care Mississippi. So you have everyday people coming and just sharing their stories about friends that might have taken their own lives, how they feel guilty, just how they hated God, and then they had to find God again because some traumatic incident happened in their life. And by telling their story, and the show airs every Saturday at 5:00 in the afternoon, you wouldn't believe how many people call and say they want to come on and tell their story. So someone's story is making someone else strong enough to want to come out. And that's how we start ridding that stigma. Talk is not cheap.
Well, on that note, it's time to say goodbye to you. I really do appreciate you taking the time. The address, the web address for the foundation, is that how people get a hold of you?
Yes, Suicide Watch and Wellness Foundation.org. And also they can go to MishaICare.com, and they can call us 601-882-3441.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, and for what you're doing. God bless you.
Oh, thank you. God bless you too, Bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here as well. Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions or you'd like to know more, visit our website at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay, and we thank you for watching Community Matters. We'll see you next week.